What does God look like? What do you see?
We're solar-powered biological AI.
Wait, what?
These ancient adversarial entities, I think it's the very same ones that rebelled against God and were cast out.
They were sent here to guide us in antiquity, and they took advantage of that and just masqueraded as gods. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Gray Pilled Podcast. Happy Sunday to everybody, and a good morning in some places, good evening in others. I am Jules, your host. We got a special show for you guys today. Got a long-awaited show. I've been wanting to do this for a while now. You could say even years. I am joined by a few guests today. I have Stein here from Greyhorn Pagans podcast. We have Nick from the Occult Rejects, and also Headless Giant from the Occult Rejects, and Headless's bag. What is it? Your magic bag?
Well, actually, we had a really interesting email come in about an actual haunted mailbag that this guy was delivering.
Yo, that was funny.
It was great, dude. So yeah, human remains in his mailbag that he was delivering, and he didn't realize it until he was checking the manifest later on. But his earbuds were glitching out as soon as he would get near this thing. This whole thing glitched out. So it was kind of funny. It's like, yeah, an actual haunted mailbag. So.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Guys,
Wow,
like the stream, share it, get some people in here.
let me share this out.
If y'all want to go around and kind of tell people who you are, what you do, and a little bit about your show, please, by all means.
I'll go first. I was going to have the trialogues this morning, but we've rescheduled to after 5 p.m. CST, and we're going to get Ricardo in there, I promise. So just tune in after 5. We'll be there. But also you can find my mailbag show on Tuesdays on YouTube. Look for the Headless Giant podcast, and all Thursdays, right? Thursdays. And you can get my artwork if you email me, and go to Nick's events, and you'll find my artwork there as well. So check that out, and definitely get on it. Follow me on X at Headless Giant Podcast, or Headless Giant. So yeah.
Yeah, besides the art, he also sent me in some pictures of himself wearing a thong autographed. Good thing he was muted. He was probably like, fuck you.
No. You'll see those pictures if you go to the event. So if you want to see me in a thong, you got to show up. And also, false advertising is fully allowed in free market.
You got to pay to play.
Yeah.
Rat, I know. Rat, we invited Rat to come join us. He had to work. I'm guessing the same as for Subliminal. It's okay. Get these guys in here soon. Nick, Stein, you guys want to?
It's up to you.
Yeah,
Stein, it's your first time on Gray Pilled, man. So
yeah, it is.
Go on.
It
Go on.
is.
I know about everything.
Well, yeah, Stein Fox. I'm the host of the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. We do everything paganism, witchcraft, mysticism, a little bit of occult, alternative healing, alternative whatever it is, just everything that is not earthly or very earthly. Yeah, shows go live every Saturday, and audio goes live every Tuesday. I do live rune readings and tarot readings with Zerulath Eternal every Saturday. That is live at 6 p.m. my time, so that's midday EST. I have my own community, my own tribe of the Greyhorn Pagans, open to all spiritual seekers of any path, of any experience, whether you are, new on the path and looking for answers, or if you've been walking the path for 20, 30 years and you want to share the answers that you found, you're more than welcome. And everything is on the website, greyhornpagans.com.
Right on, man. Nick, everyone knows you, but go ahead and
Nick from the Occult Rejects. It's on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, and all major podcast hosts. We also have occultresearchinstitute.org. And just real quick, like Headless was mentioning, October 4th in Franklin, North Carolina at the factory, the Fun Factory. The Occult Rejects will be there for a Bigfoot Comicon. And then in the 18th of October, we'll be at Fort Myers in Florida, Charlie's Beyond Belief. And we will have a booth there. And Brooke from Dark Florida and the Occult Rejects will be a speaker there as well. So come check it out. We'll have T-shirts, stickers, and Headless's artwork. So, there you go. Thank you.
all right. And yeah, guys, you see Nick here every Saturday morning for the Esoteric Book Review. We have a great time. Yesterday was a banger. And then the conversation afterwards, the hour-long convo we had afterwards, man, it's just if only people could see all this.
Hear that too.
But yeah. But and then he does me the justice of inviting me on the Occult Rejects for every show, in which I thank you, sir. But yeah, no. So we are here today speaking on a subject, something that I've kind of questioned is maybe one of the oldest archetypes or entities to ever be written about, spoken of. What are you guys' interpretation of the Green Man? Because I have a lot of different kind of things to throw out there, but I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Maybe I'll go first because it's probably the shorter. I'm the least educated on the topic. For me, from how I look at it, I think it has to do with something like possibly somebody who has come back from having a magical experience, or has that attainment. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe the whole resurrection back after the death, something like that. And plus, I just think it's deeply occulted. Just real quick too, the whole reason why I'm even interested in it is because to go back to Crowley or Thelemic stuff, but that's kind of who Crowley would look at as Pan, like you mentioned, as Pan, and he would look at Pan as being Kether and Earth, which is another reason why I do wonder if it has to do with coming back, because if you hit Kether, you've already crossed the abyss, and then when you're coming back, I don't know, something like that. And I do find it interesting that we got Panavision, Pan with sight. I find that interesting as well. Thank you for bringing me up.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Headless, what about you?
Well, this is going to be kind of complicated, but I think it goes to the heart. It goes to the heart of what we call a god, right? So we don't have a real good definition when it comes to how we see these things or how they relate to us. But I think the Green Man is the first attempt to sort of integrate, our perceptions of these divine experiences with how we see them, in nature, right? So if you take the Green Man as the idea of a spirit, right? So it has this sort of nature spirit kind of connotation, and it's coming out of the woods, right? You get the full interpretation of kind of what they were going for with Pan is this is the wilderness spirit. This is the intelligence beyond our understanding coming in and sort of making itself known to us. And so I think it's, one of the oldest again, and it symbolizes that wilderness sort of speaking to you directly as this divine form, something bigger than yourself. So I think it's very important to understand, but I think very few people really do, because it's kind of esoteric. But when you've had those experiences and you can see it, it's right there, you know?
Yeah. Stein, what about you?
Well, I think it's at the very least an ancient primordial being, and maybe even if we're talking, divine masculine, divine feminine, if Gaia is the divine feminine, divine earthly feminine, then perhaps the Green Man is the divine earthly masculine, or maybe he's one of the very first children of Gaia, because he has this physical form, if you will.
Yeah, form. You usually see them made of vegetation and foliage. Also, I had brought this up right before we started. Horns sometimes, and some people refer to him as Pan or Cernunnos. But you see him in every culture almost. It's almost if he has to be there, right? Like he is this representation of nature, right? You see him in Egypt as Osiris and Ptah. You see him as Bacchus, I believe, and Dionysus, Cernunnos, like I had said. And so, yeah, that's actually pretty interesting, Stein, to what you said, him being one of the first children of Gaia. Is there any kind of mythology to that, or?
Not to my knowledge. It's something that I I'll be honest, I pulled it out of thin air. Yeah, I just theorized it,
That's
since
cool.
it is such an ancient being, and Gaia is is Mother Earth, is the mother goddess. So that's why I thought that either he is the masculine form of it, or he could be one of her very first children, because gods and goddesses, they still have children, and because he is so old, so ancient, and has taken so many forms, or the archetype can be translated into so many forms. He's got to be one of the very first.
Yeah, that's something that I was kind of thinking about. Because one thing we do see is we see this egregoric green man kind of push throughout pop culture. And that's what I first thought of him as, is like, okay, early on at the beginning of time. I mean, I don't know how old this world is. I don't think any of us will ever quite know. But this guy was basically created as a manifestation of nature, right? Now, would this have to have been thought up by a mass consciousness? Kind of how egregores are created now, I think. And then later on, who knows, could manifest physically, because you also have some people that would say that this green man is a cryptid, right? From what I've heard, like people who see, things in the woods with antlers, horns, what have you. And like I said, that's one thing when you go back to pop culture. And I actually saw this movie not too long ago. Are you all familiar with The Green Knight?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
absolutely.
What an excellent movie.
I didn't know that it was like that. I thought it was just about some knight until I went and watched it. I was like, oh my God, this is extremely esoteric. There's this knight that rides in, and he's made of trees and leaves and sticks, and he plays this game during Christmas, I believe, where if someone can chop his head off or something, I don't know, he has to come back a year later and claim his reward.
No, I believe the story, as told in the movie at least, is it's kind of it's a trial. It's the hero story,
right?
Of course, and it is every cut that you deal to the Green Knight, the I believe the next year you get that in return. But because Sir Gawain, he wanted to, of course, prove himself, because, one of the Knights of the Round Table, definitely one of Arthur's favorites. So he's like, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to cut his head off, and not thinking about the consequence of it, because, it's not just eye for an eye, it's a head for a head in this case. But, it's a problem for next year. Yeah, then next year rolls around and he has to go on this incredible esoteric journey, and I still get confused by the ending. Like, I still don't know whether it actually happened, or if it's all if it's a dream, if it's something like that, because like you have the ending, but then like you have, what is it, like an alternative ending, but then it goes back to the ending. That it's confusing, and I still don't know what the actual ending is. But I mean, one thing I know is that Sir Gawain, he should have thought twice.
Definitely. No. And
it's the classic idea of the hubris in the hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
So his first thought was, I'm going to show everybody in court how much of a badass I am. And so he chops this guy's head off clean, one shot. And then he picks his head back up and says, see you in a year, and then walks out.
Yeah.
At that point, he knew that he had stepped into a world beyond all understanding, right? So the whole idea there was that somehow he stepped into a completely other world. And that's sort of what the Green Man represents, is sort of like walking over this threshold into something that you don't fully understand and you can never fully understand. And in terms of the definition of God, I think it would be, to apply to all forms of gods, right? It would be a personification of a sphere of influence, or a circle of influence. So if you think about the Green Man as being this god, right, it would be all the places you don't see. This is all the places behind the veil. So it's like the first vision of that would be seeing faces in the leaves, right? That first, what's that disorder they call it, where you see faces?
Pareidolia.
Pareidolia. It's the first pareidolia, right? And it's a moving picture of these leaves as it's communicating something to you.
That goes to this one guy on YouTube. He thinks he's catching these Bigfoot in these photos. It may be pareidolia, but maybe he's catching these green men in these photos. Somehow he has, he may be vibrating at a certain frequency where they feel comfortable enough to reveal themselves to him, right? And also when you look at things through a certain lens, like a camera, you can see more than what meets the eye.
Mm-hmm.
There's also that.
When you reflect the leaves in a cemetery, you're always going to have faces, because you're going to have these different spots that come through that are recognizable through that, bifold symmetry. And so the whole idea behind seeing these faces in the woods wouldn't be that far out of the ordinary, but at the same time, this allows for illusion, right? So this goes into what the definition of magic is. And I think that the best definition of magic is an illusion used to influence reality. Where does the illusion start? Where does it stop, though? Between the definition of God and the definition of magic, you can see how things can get really confusing really quickly.
So seeing faces in the leaves, seeing faces in the trees, would that also be where we get the Ents from? The tree people, Treebeard from the Lord of the Rings, for example. Right. Or would they be like another, well, let's say, generation of Green Man? Because I mean, they are kind of just more green than man in this case.
Well, that's the representation, and we were going to speak on this in pop culture. you seem to find this green man in more than just, being, in nature. Shrek, the Grinch, let's see, The Mask. I may have a list somewhere.
Jolly Green Giant.
Jolly Green Giant. There you go. Oh, here we go. Kermit, Yoda, Piccolo, Peter Pan, Gumby, Robin Hood, Hulk. I mean, dude, it's so common to see it, and it's like,
Loki in the Marvel movies.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, if he has a green tint to him, absolutely. So it's fascinating to me to see that, and it's kind of like it's hidden in plain sight, but then again, they may have just made the character green, right? But I don't know. It always kind of ties into who they are as a person. Like if they're like a real ugly, like Shrek and him and the Grinch, like they hate humans, right? Like they are real angry all the time. They have a pet that they talk to. Like, I don't know. It's some weird archetype, kind of like the Wild Man or something. And I've seen some comparisons with the Wild Man and the Green Man. The Wild Man being like an Inky Doo type of figure, but the Green Man being more a force of nature, I guess you could say, of the forest rather than that of animals or something. I don't know. I've never really seen many representations of the Green Man in animals. Have y'all? Or am I completely wrong? The frog, I guess there's the frog. That's one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you get that theme with Osiris and who's that Egyptian god? I've talked about him before. Kek, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe there's something to that. I didn't know if y'all had anything on that. If there was any symbolism, any animal symbolism. Maybe I'll be able to find something next week. We're actually starting a book on next Saturday's show on occult symbolism of animals. It's been a while. But,
in terms of Hellenism, I think the Green Man would fall into the category of rustic gods, and they made the distinction between the rustic gods and the more urban gods. So they had Ariadne, Artemis, Chiron, Dionysus, Dryads, Hephaestus, Hermes, Naiads, which would be the water spirits, nymphs, Pan, Priapus, satyrs, Rhea, Cybele, and Silenus. So a lot of really interesting crossover between these gods and the green men that you mentioned earlier, right? So I'd say that, Jolly Green Giant would be definitely representative of sort of like a dryad type spirit, something that's actually feeding you with pieces of himself, right? Because he's made of vegetable material.
Yeah, his hair is made of leaves, and yeah, dude. I don't know. It's kind of like they're spreading the spirit of the Green Man through pop culture, maybe, just to keep it alive, because so many people have forgotten.
Anytime you've got these rustic gods, it's all about this self-consumption, right? So Dionysus, he has grapes all over him, and then he's offering you the grapes as wine. You've got Priapus, the guy with the out-of-control boner. He's always offering fruits and vegetables and stuff. You guys haven't heard of Priapus?
No, please enlighten me on who
not familiar with him. Not sure if I want to be.
This was the Greeks' dawn god. He had a massive. Okay, so as you know, the Greeks had this weird hang up with, like, if you've got a big penis, that means you're an idiot, right? And so all of their heroes and gods had really
jealous.
Right. And so Priapus is a big stupid idiot. So he's got a huge schlong. And so this guy would measure fruits and vegetables on his massive wiener.
That's where that started.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Don't they do that as art now? Isn't that art?
That's all from Priapus, right? And so he is a
Thanks, Rufus.
rustic god, and he cannot control his libido, right? The unfortunate part is he's been cursed that whenever he's about to get it on, it goes flaccid. But any other time, it's rock hard. So he's
That's
cursed to
awful.
wander the earth. Yeah. He's a very interesting character when it comes to this stuff, but definitely a Green Man type character who is this Priapus, forlorn kind of god wandering around. And you find a bunch of the intact artwork about Priapus from Herculaneum and Pompeii.
Xerox.
So-
That's why statues had
Yeah.
tiny dong, sign of intelligence.
Yep. You get right? And one is directly inverse relationship to the other. So they think a tiny wiener means a big brain, and a big wiener means a small brain up here. Because I guess that's the way the Greeks were thinking.
Interesting.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
But not only do we see this in pop culture, this is on and I'll pull some stuff up on Google just to show that it's everywhere. I mean, you can go to your local Pier 1 and buy fucking something for your back porch with some Green Man on it. You know what I mean? Nick, we want to go ahead and pull up this video?
Sure, yeah. I'm laughing at
And Nick, now tell us where this was.
this was at let me lower the volume on my end.
I'll pause
This
it.
was at I forgot to refer to it. This was over by the Beinecke area, where Beinecke Library is, over by Yale University.
By Yale.
Yep.
Interesting.
You can hear kids skateboarding over there.
It's awesome. Let the kids skate. Is that fruit? Some grapes and apples and stuff you see connecting? It's the same face on both sides, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It looks slightly different.
Let me see
I
if
was
can
going to
get
say it looks
Yeah.
a little different, but
that. If anything, actually, it might have looked thinner.
Two
But you've
Face
got-
also giving
you've
some
got both
Janus
the-
vibes.
All right, Janus
go.
vibes, exactly. Janus and Pan.
we were talking about the three-face god yesterday, and I brought up Janus. Someone was like, that's Two-Face. So who's the three-face god then?
Hecate.
Yeah.
Okay, Headless. Someone in the chat was like, Hecate has three faces. I was like, okay.
I think is that different?
Confirmed.
Oh.
I mean, triple gods and triple goddesses are very abundant in polytheism, in any kind of European polytheism. So yeah, you could say they have three faces.
India, too.
Yeah,
He's got a ton of deities with multiple faces and multiple heads.
There's a green man in India, Ramachandra, King Ramachandra, Prince Ramachandra, some guy. He's green. You know, they're all blue. He's green. So interesting. You got some roses. Are those roses or are those like?
daffodils?
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
That's another thing I tried to point out too. You will see those types of designs and those flowers all over everything.
Right.
We even see it on Masonic buildings and Catholic churches. That's those same designs. Something up with that. I'm all having that shit.
Very interesting.
That wreath is one of the wreaths of victory that Rome would use on their motifs all the time, and around the bottom of it, and then all of the fruits and the Green Man face seems a lot more like what do you got?
Now someone was saying 3 phases of the moon. I got that on my own.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, nice.
right.
Hey,
But
Ron.
yeah. So in Germanic cultures, the moon is a more male figure, and the sun is a female figure. A lot like Japanese, where they've got a female sun, Amaterasu, and the male moon as well. So Germans and Japanese both have reverse genders for their sun and moon.
Yeah. And many nature gods, and the god that we believe represents nature, Yurt, It's also where you get, Yard, etc. from. She is the mother of Thor, of the thunder god. You have the twins Frey and Freyr, who are fertility gods, both linked to fertility, harvests, agricultural abundance. Njord, or Njörther, is god of the sea, winds, and maritime endeavors. In the Netherlands, that would be more akin to Nehalenia, for example, and offerings to her are very often fruit, for example. So yeah, just a lot of nature and natural gods, really.
So is this like an exclusive masculine archetype, or is there a female Green Man?
I mean, as I said, you have Yurt, who is she is female. She is the most direct embodiment of Earth. Freyr is male. Freya, also goddess of love and war. If you can't slay him.
I like that.
Always like that one.
I like that.
They are twins. They're both the divine masculine and the divine feminine, representing fertility, representing the harvest. And Freyr, it's funny, like we were talking about the giant, that one. Freyr is also often depicted with a giant schlong, because he is
with a huge
very he is like the most well-known and the most revered fertility god.
Nice. I mean, yeah, no, and that's one thing you see a lot is in this esoteric symbolism is a lot of phallic symbols, right? I mean, and an obelisk for one. I just didn't know if there would be like a specific kind of archetype or figure for. I guess you could. I don't know. No, that'd be water. I was thinking about like an Undine or a mermaid, a siren.
In Greek, we've got the dryads. And one of
what
the
are
most
the dryads?
Famous, well, the most famous of the dryads would be Daphne, who Apollo was pursuing, and she turned into a holly tree. And so the holly wreath, no, not holly, what is it? What is the wreath that Apollo has? Anyways, he's got this wreath from the tree that Daphne became, and that was always used as the symbol for victory. And laurel,
wasn't she?
Laurel. I don't know why I said holly. No, it's the laurel wreath. So
Laurel
she became
tree.
the laurel tree. And so the spirits of the woods were often called these, dryads. And so definitely in the vein of wood nymphs or things like
These
that.
are just some kind of elemental spirit.
The Fae folk.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, okay. I was like, yeah, I mean, when you look at the lore of the trees, it said, I mean, you had already brought up Treebeard, but that like each tree has a certain consciousness, right? And it said that if one tree is dying somewhere in the woods, that all the other trees will like send their nutrients to it.
In
Like send like a SOS or something.
Yeah, probably. I mean, in Germanic lore, mankind is literally made from two trees, the ash and the elm tree.
Okay.
And after Ragnarok, the last man, last women that are left have been hidden in a hollow tree.
Really?
Yeah, and especially if you want to honor Thor, for example, that's why I wear the hammer. He is very much associated with the oak tree. Thor is, the strongest of all the gods, and the oak is one of, the hardest woods that you can get, at least, here in Northern Europe. And just, the woods and our gods are so, connected. Like you'll hear a lot of pagans say like, If I want to go to church, I go into the woods. That's where my gods are.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you know, you could even say some Christians could even go out into the woods and pray, you know. I don't know. They probably get condemned by other Christians. But
Well, that's a challenge.
well, why do you think God had given us our 2 temples, right? Two temples on our head. You can talk to him anywhere. Yeah. You don't need to talk through somebody or all this other stuff. But
well, it's amazing the continuity between the oak tree in Germanic and the oak tree in Greek, because in Greece the oak was the sign of Jupiter or Zeus, and it was that direct interpretation with the lightning. So there's somehow a linkage between the lightning and the oak tree as this figure, and so this is where the divine groves would have all these different types of trees representative of these different gods. And we just did a episode with Robbie Marks about Adonis being worshipped in the hollow of a tree. What they would do is carve it in there, and you would actually cover it over with this tree. And it was the same as the Zimmermans up in Germania as they had in Greece and Syria. So they had the same type of priests who would work with these trees to create these gods and goddesses out of them.
And in a lot of the most ancient churches, here in in the Netherlands and Germany, Scandinavia, they are often kind of representations of the woods. Like you still have that leafy pattern on the ceiling. The big pillars of where the church is built on, representative of the trees. It's just for their god and not our gods, because otherwise they weren't able to convert people. They had to do it like, see, this is pretty much like yours, just come on in here, it's the same, even though this is all stone and we had to copy it to literally get you here.
The pillars were too hard. The pillars were too hard for the Christians to copy, but the pillars themselves were an act of trying to bring the sacred grove into the city. Because at the top of each one of those pillars, you've got these capitals that are shaped like the leaves, that these pillars are representing the trees at the sacred grove. So you're worshiping at the sacred grove made out of stone now instead of just the outside.
I was going to say, is there any value in it at all if it's not made from nature? If it's made of stone?
Well, it's the representation. It's like you're creating the magical ritual of converting this place in a city on the side of a cliff, for instance, with the Parthenon, into a sacred grove of trees. So you're bringing the representation of where you first met the gods into the city, where now you can come and worship through the representation.
Okay. And that's funny that you say that, because I have some pictures here of ancient depictions of the Green Man. I tried to get the pictures to, I tried to crop them out and copy them just to pull them up, but it wouldn't let me do it. So I'm going to have to pull this PDF up. We're not going to read from the PDF. We can if we want. But I just want to look at these pictures real fast, because these are very interesting. Yep. All right. I'm going to pull this up. Sorry, guys. It's not on there. All right.
Well, 1013 down in the comments just said ontology meets animism, and a really good example of that would be Parmenides and his poem On Nature, where he literally invents the philosophy of ontology, and it's all about the source, or this one's connection to all the other gods and how things manifest. So it's literally and this was the source for all of the theological advancement during 500 BC in Greece, one of the most productive periods of human history. So Parmenides kind of invents science when he's on this sort of astral trip where he's going to meet this goddess of the underworld. And in doing so, he also, gives birth to this really interesting tradition of religion that's based around the emanation from the source. So it's a interesting read if you guys get the chance. Parmenides on Nature. There's only a few fragments of it left, but you can really start to see it as a seed document that sort of flowers into all of the rest of the stuff you see in Greece at that time.
Yeah, now this is just a common. You'll see this on buildings, and churches even. Now it's like he has vines coming out of his mouth. In some depictions, it's like he's sticking his tongue out. But it's the same guy.
Yeah.
It's the same guy, dude.
Same god, same archetype, same man. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure my mom has a couple of these.
Two
I know I'm
faces?
going to put in my garden now. These faces of the Green Man maybe will make the garden grow faster. I don't know.
Well, speaking
But
of
yeah,
gardening,
guys, this is here. Nick, did you have something else that you were going to pull up?
Oh, yeah. Let me see if I have that one. I'm not sure what this was. He doesn't look like as green as the other guy is.
So I'm going to pull this up while you find that. Then I got some other depictions of him. All right. Are y'all seeing this?
yeah.
Yeah, this is nice. So it's like a 12-page PDF that I got. Just touch up on it. But yeah, I mean, you see this depiction of him. Let's go down. Can make this a little bigger.
There's the figure 12, the horned gods, the horns.
Cernunnos, right?
Yeah. Well, Cernunnos in Celtic. Yeah, he's the most well-known one.
Heard. All right. Here we go down here. Yeah, you see depictions of the horn god, but you see a lot of this, right? I've seen a lot of pictures of this on the corner of a lot of mausoleums and churches and buildings. Some people will say that they're dragons, but when you see these other pictures of the Green Man, it kind of confirms it, right? That they're venerating this ancient spirit.
And I love how with that one, the nose is broken off as well.
Right, dude? You see that where else? On the Sphinx. You see that on a lot of places.
Just everywhere.
Yeah, man. Well, this basically says the Green Man appears not only as the foliate head of a man carved in stone, there are a few rather feminine versions. Oh, wow, this answers my question. Although they are commonly referred to as Green Man carvings, one exception is a carving Southwell Minster, which, because it wears a wimple, an article of women's clothing, is said to be a green woman. This is weird how I didn't even read this part earlier. So that's very interesting. So yeah, there are depictions of green women. It talks down here, Cernunnos, Dionysus, Bacchus.
Yeah.
Which, if you go back further, is entities like Nanarsin, the moon god. In some religions, right, they change throughout different cultures. All right. No, I thought about doing that as a presentation, but I don't know. That's just taking someone else's PDF and reading it. That'd be more like a book review. We do that on Patreon, guys. So let's see. Am I hearing are y'all hearing interference, or is that just me?
I hear a little bit.
You hear a little bit? Yeah. I
Not
don't
me.
know. I don't know. It's probably my phone. I'm in a garage, and so if I plug my phone up in here, sometimes it picks up on my interface.
If you guys wanted to see Priapus, I have some pictures pulled
dude.
up.
Yeah. Here. Nick has some stuff pulled up too. Sorry, I don't know.
Oh,
It's kind of spooky when it does
wow.
stuff. Is that his hog? Oh
Yep.
God.
That's it. So you could see he's got all the agricultural products right here, and he's sort of measuring it against his dog.
And the Phrygian cap.
Yep, Phrygian cap. So you could say he comes from that Thracian region.
What the
What
fuck?
the hell?
Wowzers.
sorry.
Okay.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this was a common ornament that they would have in their gardens is the Priapus statue. Because the Priapus statue
That
It's like a
works.
fertility statue, right?
right. And so he's sort of a god of fertility. And also, in a lot of cases, this stone phallus would actually come off. And so they could use it to beat intruders with, using the phallus of Priapus as sort of like a self-defense weapon.
excuse me?
Yeah.
Holy
That's
shit.
crazy, man. A literal weapon.
Right.
That's
So
a
this
different
is,
kind of club.
Right.
Where is this, Nick?
It was out at Maya Park. Yeah, it was in the Bronx. Yeah.
Yeah, we know who that is, though, don't we? That's not a green man, but it's
Uh,
close.
Fuck it was.
Who
Yeah, for
is
some
it,
reason
Adam?
when I showed it one time, I thought like you might have referenced the Green Man with that guy. I don't know why I thought that.
I mean, I see why, but it's someone else.
This is Medusa. And you
Really?
could always, you could always tell Medusa because she has the snakes and the wings, because what came out of her neck was Pegasus. So after she was slain, you have Pegasus spring from her neck. And so, you see the snakes all around her head. But this was used as a common motif on shields. So it's like you've got the Green Man motif further up north, but during the same time period, this is like the shield symbol. So this was on Zeus's shield, which is called the Aegis, right? And so the Aegis was supposed to be this constantly shifting kind of 3D viewer port, so you could see anything you wanted to in it. And it was the goddess Athena that put Medusa's head in there, which made it this sort of magical mirror type object that could kill you. But also you've got the eye of Medusa, also called Algol. And so in the Perseus constellation, he's holding up the head of Medusa with Algol right in her eye socket. And so it's the idea that Algol can turn you into stone. But it's still a Green Man type motif with the face of this thing sort of put everywhere in the Hellenic world.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that at all. I would have probably gone with Hermes or Mercury.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Very interesting. Dude, that's awesome that you went to these places, Nick. And I need to do stuff like that. I have some pictures of is it the Robert E. Lee Cathedral in Lexington, Virginia. Dude, it's very esoteric stuff on there. They have a podium. I can probably find. No, I don't know. Picture's probably not on here. Is it on here? If it's on here, I can pull it up real fast. It's a pretty cool picture. No, it's not on here. Of course, it's not on here. I have a picture of Nate looking like a fag, but it's not on here.
Isn't the satyr also supposed to have this giant schlong or whatever? What creature was it? I believe it was satyr.
All the rustic gods. So even Hermes is depicted as having a massive schlong, and he was used in these kind of wind chimes called tintinnabulum. So he's got a bunch of like pieces of metal hanging off of his schlong, and it blows in the breeze. But the idea is that these rustic gods really don't have a higher brain function. They're more of just like totally in tune with nature, totally in tune with animals and all the rest of that stuff, which is why they have a lot of this fertility energy, right?
Oh, yeah.
If you're thinking too much, right, you're not thinking about your ween, right? But if you're not thinking at all, you're just out there trying to fuck everything. And that's kind of the dichotomy that they were going for.
Yeah, that's me in my 20s.
Yeah, dude. Walking around with something that big in your pants. And they didn't even have pants like us. They had robes, right? So it was just like probably hanging just like on the floor. Sorry, guys. We didn't mean to bring y'all here to talk about dongs for half an hour.
Well, I think it's a part of this because, you know, the fertility energy is what they're trying to depict with all these, you know, leaves and everything else. And they, you know, the Greeks were just literalists. They're like fertility energy. So we see fertility, we see all these leaves, we see big old schlongs and everything else as sort of a way of bringing life back from the underworld. So the bigger the schlong, the more fertility energy, right?
I wonder if Osiris had a huge hog because he was the same type of god, right? This green guy.
Yeah, Isis
and
kept
when you look into Ptah, and he had what was known as the Jed pillar. Now this is spelled Djed because they were Jedis, right? And then you get into the green man archetype of Yoda, right? Being this this archetype on Star Wars. With the Jedis, it's very weird. You knew that George Lucas was reading into his esoteric studies.
So would you say the Washington Monument is a pretty big schlong?
Dude, don't get me started with Washington Monument and Osiris, bro.
It's the same thing, though.
Well, yeah, no, it is. And you know, there's that theory that during the presidential, we did this like the weekend of when Trump got inducted into office again, that they're invoking the spirit of Osiris into the president or whatever in this underground chamber underneath the White House, apparently.
Well, it's
there's
under
that
the
theory.
Capitol.
Allegedly. But yeah, that's under the Capitol. Sorry.
It's funny you mentioned Yoda as well, because Susie Q in chat a while back, she's one of my subscribers. What's up, Susie? She mentioned the little green man from space.
Well, right. Well, that's what Martians used to be known as, right?
Yeah.
These little green men.
But Mars is a dead planet. Or, you know, I mean, now they're saying there was once life or they found some sort of bacterial life, but it's a dead planet. It's like, you know, if Earth went through like an all-out nuclear war, we'd end up like Mars.
Well,
but somehow they're a little green man. Why green, though? Just because, like, everything that's like gross and dirty and disgusting we associate with green. Like, think of slime. You know, slime is always green for some reason,
right?
You know, or when someone is jealous, like, you know, they're green with jealousy. Or if someone's new, you know, they're
green,
green.
Right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, man. No, maybe there's a deeper meaning to it. But I do believe that this is the archetype of what Headless brought up earlier, the divine masculine, or maybe it was Stein that brought it up. Kind of maybe even the first one, right?
Yeah.
Like the first thing that symbolized that. I got to go watch The Green Knight again, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's Red in chat, like about 15 minutes back, who said that if Gaia is the mother goddess, then the green man carries the seeds, like literally carries the seeds, and he seeds Gaia. He brings, you know, all the life to Gaia. So in that way, he is the the divine masculine to the divine feminine that is Gaia. He brings life there, so, you know, he'd be her consort.
I got to clip that. Yeah, no, I actually couldn't agree more, man. Let's see. Let me take this out of here, Nick. Appreciate you bringing all that, Nick.
In the movie John Carter, there's these two races of life on Mars that are sort of advanced, and the one with the 4 arms are all green, right? Have you ever seen John Carter?
No, but I'm about to get it off on a schizo tangent here in a second. So you guys, so, you know, if you read about the Anunnaki or whatever, right? And we all, you know, a lot of people think it's fake and gay, whatever. it's we're theorizing here. There were once, a race of quote unquote angels that lived on Mars known as the Agigi, and some of them were green. And this is apparently where Osiris was born from, was this line of, and you go back to Ptah, this was also the same archetype as Enki. And so, there's that. And so you follow this line back and you can see this representation of a green entity in all these different civilizations and all these different cultures. And it may have something to do with this certain archetype, or this certain, as you would say, this side of this one pantheon. And that could possibly get into biblical bloodlines and, priest kings of Babylon and the prison system or prison world we live in today, or whatever.
I think that's where Nick can come in, because Nick knows all about the color green in the Kabbalah tree.
What's up, Nick?
Oh, I do. I was trying to think about that before, and even think about. Well, I mean, you always get the Philosopher's Stone too. It's always coming up with green and shit. But yeah, I was trying to think about that before. The whole thing with green, and even with the Kabbalistic sense. I mean, it does go with nature. It goes with duty. My opinion too is like, well, when you come out of that sphere, you start to get into colors and shit as well. Going into Hode, there's like this rainbow of colors that's supposed to go from Netzach to Hode. So like even then, I do believe that's kind of like it's just like a Wizard of Oz. When you added the color to the movie, it all got more realistic and in depth and all this and that. So I do think it might
Emerald City.
Yeah,
Tablet.
Dude, hey, yeah.
In order for that growth to happen, I do think that the male energy has to project out of whatever it's already in. Again, like a light bulb. So, like, could you see like nature and plant life, like showing that in a more basic sense of life, like somehow energy just coming into matter here, and, in the beginning basics.
We see more shades of green than any other color. And that's partially because of how much time we spend in the forest, but it's like evolutionarily we see more green. So it's like beauty being Tifereth and being stuck right there in the middle, having everything to do with the heart chakra. It all kind of makes sense when you put it into that sort of, that's our home,
Isn't green the transforming color in alchemy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was going to ask that next. Is there
The
anything?
Green Lion.
Do y'all know? Yeah. It's one of my backgrounds. I plan on getting that tattooed on me. Is there anything having to do with the Green Man in alchemy? Is he a sign of the alchemical process?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at before. I think that is a symbol of you actually experiencing the alchemical process.
Experiencing like an energy transmutation from dark to light or whatever.
It's like sometimes it depends on how you look at it. I don't know if you even know of like the sphere of Thoth. I look at that as if you crossed the abyss and came back, and now you have understanding and knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like the Green Man would be like representative of somebody that I've like had this magical experience, and I know it now, experienced it.
Maybe they experienced them in a dream or a vision, a psychedelic trip.
Yeah. Another thing.
I'd love to think he just comes out fizz. I mean, maybe that happens too. I'm sure it does to some people.
A thing I did want to add real quick too, again, with like the whole nature shit. Not to keep dragging it on, but like when you go from the sphere 7, which is green, and it heads over to Hode, that's when you actually get into both sexes too. And if you think about it, in between that middle area, you kind of get a little weird. And if you start thinking about plants, are they really fucking? No, they have other things pollinating. Some of them will even change sex. Lilies will do that. They'll actually like change sex and use a bee to pollinate the fucking itself.
It's weird that it's named Lily too.
Getting it, and Nazis are huge into
that's weird. It's named Lily.
So
sure something else, Lilith.
So you have to like think about. Like, I do think there might be something there with like the male energy. That breaks the matrix to start creating something in this reality.
Dude, for sure.
So I pulled up a bunch of images of the Green Lion devouring the sun.
Yeah.
So again, we're seeing here is again that tephratic zone. So now the green is devouring the gold.
Yeah, and
Apparently-
green is right underneath the sun on the tree of life too.
And the
Right.
red represents the blood.
So there's a lot in there, but
Oh,
that
yeah,
would
dude.
be the alchemical version of that green man energy, I think. So there's, again, you got to think of this as like a hungry universe. So it's never going to be 100%, but you're going to see these associations start to move and meld into one another. So you've got the aspects of the villain and the green aspect of, let's say, the Hulk or Loki, right? This is sort of changing the entire course for the hero, right? Because he represents this sort of unmoved barrier. Like you can't beat life. Life finds a way.
And this, I'm sorry, Stein, were you going to say something?
No, I was just thinking, like in a lot of popular culture, popular art, Loki is depicted as green or having this green hue about him. In our stories, he, not directly, of course, but caused the death of Balder, who was, the most beautiful
youngest
of
son of
all the
Loki.
gods.
I mean, the youngest son of Odin, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And Balder is, the most beautiful. His name literally means the radiant one. So he is the sun, but he got tricked, or Loki tricked his blind brother Hother to throw a dart of mistletoe at him, the one thing that that could wound and kill Balder. But because the story is because Balder, like even at birth, was so radiant and so incredibly beautiful, his mother went throughout the realm and asked every being, every plant, to like make a promise to never hurt Balder. But she was like, the mistletoe is so innocent, it really doesn't do anything. I'm just gonna assume that it won't hurt. Loki, of course, being the trickster and being very, very clever, very intelligent, he knew that. And for the gods, it's just a fun game. Like, oh, you can't hurt Balder. Nothing can hurt Balder. Let's just chuck stuff at him and watch it bounce off. I mean, I do imagine that being a pretty fun game.
Well, you've got the white flower too on the end of the sprig of mistletoe.
Mhm.
So it's the white of innocence, sort of. How could that possibly hurt anybody?
Yeah, exactly. But because his twin brother Hother was blind, so Loki, of course, gave him a dart and kind of, aimed him towards Balder and was like, "Hey, you should throw this. Like, this is funny." Like, "Oh, it's not gonna do anything. Trust me." It did. That's how Balder was killed. That's how he journeyed to the underworld. That's where you get in Hellenic. It's the story of Persephone, just a little different.
It's the story. It's the same story of.
It's the sun
Tammuz.
going down into the underworld and rising up again.
Yeah, it's the same story in Mesopotamia, that of Tammuz, or what's his name, Dumuzi, I think.
Christ, even that's his story as well.
Yeah. That's fascinating, man. Yeah, and then doesn't Odin try to go down there and try to get him?
No, he sent someone on Sleipnir, the eight-legged horse. I'd have to.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, no, I'm just very interested since you brought it up.
That's fine. I don't know it from the top of my head, like all those Norse names. Hermot. HERMOD, volunteered to journey to the underworld to petition the goddess Hel for his release. And riding on Odin's eight-legged horse, Sleipnir, a child of Loki, he traveled for 9 days and 9 nights through dark and treacherous valleys to Hel's realm.
That's fascinating that Hermod was the one. Hermod is very similar to Hermes, which links directly to Ningishzida in Sumeria. The brother of, who would be a brother of, I guess, the brother of Tammuz, the older brother, who went down to the underworld and begged his cousin.
Hermod is one of the brothers of Balder. So, yeah,
okay.
that adds up.
Yeah, they had the same story, just told, different cultures.
Yeah, in the north.
Yeah, man, it's fascinating stuff. I got to get you on to do a full Norse mythology episode, man. I still haven't had anyone on to talk about that yet. I'd love to do that with you.
That's my jam for sure. Just
hell yeah. No, I'd love to get you on for that, man, for sure. So I don't know, man. Were there any concluding thoughts that you guys had on this? Was there anything else that y'all wanted to share? Because there is something that I wanted to bring up when we talk about the alchemy aspect. Isn't there something when the sun shines through the leaves, there's a green hue that is over everything, and doesn't that have something to do with it? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about something else.
Well, I know that in during the eclipses, if you look through the trees, you'll see that on the ground you'll have a negative image or a positive image of the event taking place in the sky. So you get all the slivers of sun as it's being eaten by this green lion.
This green lion. Okay.
So you kind of get that angle too, because it's sort of like the trees become sort of a dispersal point for all of this different kinds of light. So it's almost like they're eating the sun rays. But who knows? Maybe being under the right kind of tree during a solar eclipse might be a interesting fact. Maybe the oak tree, for example.
When's the next eclipse?
Ooh,
we can only try it. I don't know. Let's see if we can get this out of here. All right. Yeah, no, I didn't even think of the fact that you knew about all the Norse stuff, man. I would have wrote down a lot more questions to ask you about that, but we can do that on another episode. I think that'd be really cool, and I'm actually super excited for it now. So
hey, I'm always down for that for sure.
Glad I invited you on this today, man. This was fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, guys, I've had some people say some stuff lately, like, oh, this episode wasn't long enough. It's like, yeah, dude, you know how many episodes I put out a week? Work full time. I at least put out 4 episodes a week. So I try to, keep everyone entertained. So if some episodes aren't 2.5 hours long, because the conversation, we had a good conversation. The next episode may be 3 hours long that we do together, This is something that I wanted to touch on for a while, and I think I picked the right people to talk about it with, to be honest with you. So I appreciate you guys for coming and hanging out with me. Is there anything that y'all have coming that y'all wanted to promote or plug?
Well, check out my channel at 5 because we're doing the trilogues then. So tune in at 5 today, Central Standard Time, not Eastern.
Yeah,
and follow him on Twitter at Headless_Giant. It's Headless_Giant. You're just telling people Headless Giant, they're not going to find you.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it's Headless_Giant. If I'm wrong, then fuck me. I should shut my mouth. And I interrupted Stein as well, so I'm sorry about that.
No, that's all right, man. It's all right. No, for me, it's just the Greyhorn Pagans podcast on all the the greater podcasting platforms. And find me on YouTube, youtube.com @SteinFox. That's where the podcast videos are posted. It's where I post clips and snippets of the podcasts that I've done. And I've been doing more standalone videos as well, just 15, 20 minutes videos on topics that I find interesting or that my audience want me to talk about. And of course, every Saturday, the rune reading, tarot reading live stream with Zaralath Eternal.
And that's live on your channel on Saturdays? Because I'm
Yes,
very
sir.
interested in tuning into one of those, man.
I mean,
interested in how do you read runes, you know?
I mean, Zaralath will, he is happy to tell you all about that. So, yeah, every Saturday, 6 p.m. my time, at 6 p.m. Amsterdam time, midday Eastern time.
I was going to say that's okay. So subtract 7 hours, guys, and then you got Central Time. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
That's how we did it. Because I was like, you're 7 hours ahead of me because
right.
I was at work in the middle of the day and you were getting off of work, I think, or you were like, I think about to go to bed. And I was like, oh man, he is that far ahead of me. Stein, thanks for coming on, brother.
You're very welcome.
Nick.
Oh yeah. So yeah, the Occult Rejects, BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, all major podcast hosts. That's about it. That's all I got. Thank you very much for having me on here. Again, like I said, I was probably the least educated on this topic.
Fox, dude, is hot. Stein, you got some admirers. I'm pretty sure you're taken though, right?
Yes, happily married.
That's awesome, man.
Sorry.
It's all right. I have to say the same thing, man. Been married. We just celebrated our 12-year anniversary.
Nice.
So, yeah, man. Yeah. She just started her own podcast. Guys, go to Babylon podcast. She just dropped episode 2. And I'm pretty sure I interrupted Nick. So there I go again with my antics.
Oh, I think I was done anyway.
Were you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
short and sweet.
All the same. Guys, thank you all for coming and hanging out with us on this Sunday afternoon. Go check out, well, I guess you can find me on Twitter at GrayPillPod, Instagram GrayPill_podcast, over on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Go over to Patreon, patreon.com/GrayPillPodcast. We have our esoteric book reviews over there. We are doing Twin Peaks tonight, Twin Peaks Watch Party. I will be streaming it live to Rumble and Twitter, and then we'll be taking it down immediately afterwards. So we're streaming him live because I think the season is almost up. And so I think it'd be fun for everyone to watch it. Meet Cavern, it's good seeing you. You better be there tonight. And that'd probably be at 9 o'clock tonight, guys, Central Time. But go over to Patreon. We got a lot of good stuff over there. You get a free sticker pack. This week I'm going on Inquiries of Reality Tuesday night with Shane.
Nice.
I'll be streaming that to my channel. He's a good guy. Yeah. It's about time we did something together. And then Izzy is coming on Thursday. Izzy Griffin. That's going to be a banger of a show.
Dude, you got Izzy Griffin?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I got Izzy coming on, man. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Funny enough, he's a rapper, and he raps in the same underground scene that I used to rap in like a decade ago.
Yo, that's cool.
Yeah. It's very weird how stuff. I was like, dude, you have a Goth Money poster behind you. What? How do you know who that is? He was like, their manager is my manager. I was like, get the fuck! I used to listen to Goth Money all the time, dude. I still have my iced out shirt. Anyway. And then next Saturday, we have a Sound Science with Bradley from White Rabbit Podcast. So y'all tune into that, as well as the esoteric book reviews every Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. Banger of an episode again, guys. Thank y'all for coming and hanging out. And tune in. Oh, yeah, tune in. I guess, will that be on your channel later, Headless, or the Occult Rejects channel?
It's live right now. I think it's live on both.
Oh, no,
Okay.
no, Trialogue is on his show.
No, the Trialogue.
Oh, yeah. No, that's coming out on my channel. So check that out. Headless Giant podcast.
Okay. Y'all tune into that later. And Have a good rest of y'all's weekend, guys. Stay gray-pilled. Later.
You handsome
Shouts out.
faggot.